What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're taking a look at the Xtransbots Master X Series MX-1 Apollyon, also known as Megatron. And as you may know already, this is the Megatron designed to go stand right next to your MP10. Yeah, so this is going to be kind of a quick on the modes, hopefully, as I would like to try to do the transformation without this being like a 3-hour video. So here we got his gun mode. It is a enormous gun, not MP1 enormous, but my hand barely can grab the trigger. Here's the MP5 Megatron here for comparison, so you can just see this is just absurd. The closest in size actually is your Hegemon, but there's quite a deal of quite a big difference between the two of them, as that is. And actually the closest to the actual Walther P38 is actually the G1 in terms of size. Also for reference, just to throw it out there, real gun in comparison. Much better grip than this type of thing going on. So yeah, I kind of, the orange caps kind of bother me, but in the same hand, you know what, I can't blame them for being there, all things considered. But this is definitely a way oversized gun. I don't even think like your big Desert Eagles have as big of a grip. In the box, you also got these accessories to do the G1, stock on this gun. Put that on, extend that out all hugely, and the big unnecessary silencer to make this guy just enormous. He almost doesn't fit on the review table. I've got a picture at the end just to compare that, just so you can see. The scope on this guy is not transparent. It's got a red inlay here, and it's red out here. It has this switch, and this is one thing that really kind of bothers me about this mode. The weight of the scope, this little white peg. I've done a lot of nail polishing in here to keep this from moving, but it still has this tendency to kind of bounce back and forth when you have it on the top here. It's not too big of a deal, especially once it's just standing there, but it is just kind of something that I think would have been easily fixed. And you also have this on-off switch on the side, which is supposed to make a red light come on as you twist it. And as you can see, it just kind of flashes when I turn it. I actually have to turn it on and push the switch, and it'll come on, which is kind of disappointing, because unlike your Fans Toys Shockwave or the Dinobots, I can't just kind of turn it on and leave it as a display piece. That's a little bit of an annoyance. I've added hot glue to this. I've bent the contacts a little. Well, this contact, not this one, because the idea is there's a little peg in here that you move it, it kind of bends the contact into contact with the battery. And no matter what I do, it doesn't seem to work without me actually pushing it. So keep that in mind. Also, there's supposed to be a cap similar to this on the top here. Mine didn't have it. My understanding is that that's not, a common thing. Hopefully I get a replacement piece, but mine didn't have it. And this little white piece here, in case you're wondering, it's specifically for the gun mode, because without it, if this is swiveled on in, you can see how hard it is to get past all those points, but if it's swiveled in, it's not centered with the gun. So it is a nice little extra design feature they built in to swivel this thing out and allow it to be centered on the gun. So very nice there. So let's try to get to transforming this monster. Be warned that this is MP5 levels of frustrating at times. So yeah. Oh yeah, this is also a gripe I have, is that the way this transforms, these little things never seem to stay closed like that. Anyway, let's get this done. We'll take the gun off, and we'll fold this little plate on down here, and then we panic a little because it starts getting sketchy from here, I guess. We're going to take this and kind of separate it out like this, and then take all this stuff and kind of split it apart. And it's kind of a little bit scary because you do have some small pegs and very weak ball joints. We'll get to that later. For now, we'll just kind of pop this back on. So you got this out like that. Once this is pulled out, and the instructions actually tell you the wrong order, I'm going to show you how to transform them back into robot mode after. But yeah, the order is all messed up. Extend this piece up and kind of hold on to it, and then you're going to need a tool or Megatron's sword here that comes with them. And you kind of have to get in here and try to pop this thing out. It's ridiculously difficult. In fact, the easiest way I found to do it, and it's not good for the toy, is to actually push this thing in, which is the order the instructions tell you to go, because it actually pops all this stuff up a bit. But when you get that, it kind of loosens the grip on it, and you can pull this thing out. And this is one of the scariest pieces of this toy. It is just a little plastic piece on a ball joint here, and you have to kind of swivel it around to the front, making sure you clear everything down like this, and that's going to give you a lot of the room you need. Next, we're going to take this gun piece out, flip the top open like this, close it, flip the gun up, and then this is a little bit tough. You gotta get in there and pull Megatron's head on out and close this back up. So now that we have that done like this, we can actually take this, making sure that we have a gap here, and bring it all the way around to the other side here, which is why this piece needs to be out of the way. And you know what? We're gonna center his body on the trigger right now, just because it's easier to work with. And make sure that this other side also goes in. You see you have these square recesses here. That's where these have to be. Once you have that in place, you can now, well, you can take these, rotate them up and out of the way on both sides here. And then you have to kind of get these little white pieces to play nice and fall out, which can be a little bit difficult. It is easier if the arms do actually pop off for that, but we don't want that to happen. And in the box, he does come with ball joint sockets that replace these ones, but they're so tight, I'd rather them pop off and just kind of fix them with some nail polish, as opposed to risking the toy actually permanently being damaged. So we take this and drop it on down, and then you push these little bar assemblies for his arms upwards. And you'll know if you've got it right, because these black pieces can now swivel down and clip into the white. And you can see, such a terrible ball joint here. I don't know why it's so bad, but I guess I'd rather that than it break. So take this, make sure that we're up as far as we can, and clip the black piece onto the little white shoulder tab. Once you have that in place, you can take this little piece here and close it right back up. And we've got most of the upper body done. Take this little black piece, slide it on back all the way. Take this silver piece, close it up on each side like this. Close this up, close this up. Alright, we'll just do that without the arm here. Just extend this out. Extend these awful hands out. They're awful because they use these stupid articulated fingers, which end up getting this thing caught a lot of times. I don't really know why it ends up working that way, but I can't get these things out 90% of the times because they always get themselves caught in here. Yeah, so let's see if the other one actually works better for me. We'll pull this one out. These stupid ball joints. There we go. This one works like a champ. So you take this, flip it around, and articulate out his awful fingers. Take this top piece. Mine does float pretty freely. Fold it down like so. The instructions tell you to flip it and fold it up, but that's not how it works. And you can take this black piece and fold that on up too. Alright, I got that hand out. I feel like part of the problem is always the articulated fingers, but I'm not entirely sure that that's the case. It might just be that joint is very tough. Anyway, going back to what we do, carefully spin this plate around, which I've noticed kind of takes a little bit of work before it actually ends up happening. I don't understand why, honestly. Yeah, you just, once in a while it's in the way, and then next time it actually free floats. And then fold this thing on down here. There we go. And this is real loose for mine. You can see it looks like they tried to heat press it in. I might try to do it just a little bit more. Yeah, it's loose, and because the panel doesn't really clip in, even though there's a spot down here for it, yeah, it kind of wobbles on mine, which I don't really care for. Anyway, just make sure this is all extended out, and if it popped off your Megatron in the process, put it right back in place. So now we'll come down to his, god damn you arms. Can you tell how frustrating these are? There we go, okay. Alright, so we're gonna open this thing up, and we're gonna fold this on down like so, and take this piece and just kind of get it out of the way, but leave that hole open. Same goes for the one on the other side. So it's best to kind of angle it down where the trigger is. And then we get to the legs, and this is right here is very MP5 Megatron. The fact that you have all these little things just held on. Fortunately, these are nice you know, die cast pieces, but I can't speak for the pieces that they're bolted into. They're plastic, you know, so you do have to be very careful when you get down to here. On this piece here, I actually forgot, we do have one more step that we need to do. You have to get these little peg things out of the black piece, which can be a little bit of a challenge, but usually not too bad, and close it on up, because those are extremely important for when we get to actually connecting the legs. So actually we'll go ahead and do that right now. You can plug it in here, and you see the little black piece here we flipped out plugs into, it plugs into this piece, and you got a little piece that plugs in here, and this plugs into the side at the top. So it's got quite a bit of mechanism to secure it all in place, but it can be tough to work with. There we go, got the one, and got the second. So now we got this. I'm going to take these trigger pieces, move them out of the way. Stupid arm. We're going to unplug these things here, and then we're going to come down to all this side bits and kind of pop them off here. Same goes for down here. So that's loose, just like that. So we'll take this, fold this on up so it's flush like that, fold this down so it's flush like this, and we'll adjust that finally after. We're going to take his leg, and this is a problem. Usually you gotta take the leg and telescope it from here to there, which can be very tough to do. It seems as I do it more, it does become a little bit easier, but just be aware when you're pulling on it that there's places that, you know, you don't want to pull on this toy. So let's do that to the other side here. We'll pop all this stuff off and loose over here, just like that. And on this side, there we go. Flip this up and around. Now we'll take this and kind of grip somewhere. Oh. Yeah, see, this is the part. When I said that other part was the most scary part, I actually was lying. I think that this is by far your most scary part. That is the smallest, fragilest seeming part, But this part is just so tough because you don't have a great place to put the pressure you need to telescope the leg out. Like this panel, you don't want to break it. You don't want to break this off, so it's tough. Fortunately, I don't suspect my Megatron will be hitting his robot mode, or his gun mode too often. He'll probably be sitting on a shelf in his gun mode. But there we go. We got the legs telescoped out and the arm positioned back in place. You come back to here. These come out, and you didn't see it, but the trigger is spring loaded here and kind of retreated itself back up in the process. So you put that like that. All this stuff kind of cleans up. This folds up here and it's supposed to kind of peg into this side here, but that never seems to work. So I just kind of peg this in as best as I can. I am so tired of these arms. I really am. Just take them off when you're trying to transform this thing, because it's too fragile and the arms just don't want to stay on. So we got that. We're going to take this piece. This is my least favorite piece because I feel like more could have been done here. I just don't know exactly what. So we'll flip that silver bit open on both sides of this. Fold the trigger on down. This piece sits up like this. Then you rotate this around and you rotate it back. And it just kind of sits there, you know, on the other side of his leg. Like, why? Why couldn't we do something to secure this in? Yeah, this thing totally needs something to tab in here to be good. And then the final thing to do is take his, well, not final thing, but one of the final things is to telescope his foot on in, open this, fold this piece, and then close that. Leave the back one open because that's going to be his heel spur. So again, open, and then close. And there we go. We've got our Apollyon in his robot mode, and I gotta say, it's a damn good robot mode. He looks really good. We'll take his gun here, position the peg so it's straight, and we'll put it right there in his arm. And he is a really nice looking Megatron. Hopefully the light's not washing him out. These panels down here, pain in the butt, but he's looking pretty good. I really like his overall look. So real quick, we'll talk about his accessories. He does have a sword here, just like all your regular MPs. You'd open up the fist, tab it in, and close your fingers. I really don't see why we needed the full articulated fingers unless you want to have your Megatron flipping someone off, which if that's on your shelf, good for you. We got the flail. To make that work, you fold his hands back in and plug it on into the little tabs that were sticking out. We're not going to do that. You've got a gun that I don't know what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, pretty sure we've seen it before though. You have a helmet. Now I don't really remember this helmet from the cartoon too much. Actually, I remember this one more than I remember his other accessories, but I don't really remember his episode. If someone can point it out, let me know, but it just fits right on his head. No big problem there. We got a key to Vector Sigma. And we have this piece, which is a weird little piece. You actually take part of his chest off and you put it on here, and it's a meteor has damaged him, and I really don't remember this piece from the show. If you do, feel free to tell me. I won't be offended. Speaking of the piece, so that's never going to see the light of day because you have to open up this chest panel and pop it off, and I'm just not going to do that. But you can open these to open it and see inside Megatron. Yeah, so there's that. Articulation on this guy, pretty solid. Head is on a swivel this way and an up and down swivel, so you can get some menacing looks out of him. His eyes, let me just zoom in here. They're not bad. I do wish the red inside the socket was a little bit bigger and the black was a little less pronounced. But overall, it's better than, you know, most eyes, so I'm not going to really complain about that. On the shoulder, you saw he has the crappy shoulder sockets. It is on a ball joint, and there is an additional swivel in there. I can't get anything more than that out of these arms, but with the red swivels here, which, just to point out, if these aren't fully extended, you won't get the swivel out of the arm, so you may find yourself having to kind of pull on the arm and then swivel. But with that, you could take these arms, if they'll stay on, kind of put them out like that, and you actually do have a little ridge here to sit Laserbeak on. So that's pretty cool that they thought about that. As you saw, the elbow is a arm piece. I can't believe this piece is so terrible. Anyway, the arm, as you can see here, it is pretty nice, because up until you do a 90 degrees, it does make it look pretty nice. Once you go here, it would have been nice if something in here moved also to kind of, you know, fill that in, but at least like that, it looks really good. And I'm not going to complain too much, because if I do have it 90 degrees, probably not going to see it. You do have the rotation here, the individual articulated fingers at 3 different sections, which, like I said, I can't stand. No swivel anywhere else except that bicep swivel. So let's put that back in place. You do have the waist rotation here, partially for transformation, but whatever. The skirt armor does go out of the way here, and he does have nice ratcheted joints down here. I don't really know why they didn't do that for the shoulders, but did down here, but whatever. Actually, a side to side doesn't feel like it's on a ratchet. It's hard to say, but he does hold it just fine. The top does swivel. The knee, no swivel there, but fairly good range of motion out of it. Coming down here to the foot, you do have a swivel, and you do have a very tight but usable ankle tilt. So yeah, and you can see kind of why I hate these panels, because since they don't sit in place, they almost always find their way popping out of Megatron's side there. And with a little bit of clear nail polish in here, he really doesn't have problems holding up his arm. So it really is just a problem that the joint just falls off when you're trying to do something with it. But, you know, on a shelf, you know, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about coming back and seeing this on the floor. So as you would expect, he was designed with MP10 in mind, standing next to MP10. They look pretty darn good next to each other. Since I'm tired and I didn't feel like taking apart Starscream's cape, here he is next to Thundercracker. I think that size would look okay if you're going to display him with that Starscream. Here he is next to the Fans Toys Shockwave. I think that also looks pretty good. And finally, here he is next to a Masterpiece Soundwave. Alright, so let's get Apollyon slash Megatron to his gun mode, which undoubtedly many of you may be just pulling him out of the box for the first time and want to see how to do it without damaging Apollyon. I don't blame you, so let's get this started. I start by popping off his arms. You can keep them on if yours cooperates nicer than mine. Take this, fold that in, fold this thing down, take his finger, his thumb goes across and the fingers go on in, just like it should be if it was an unarticulated hand. Then you can take this and fold this in. I find to take it out, it is oftentimes easiest to pull the thumb out of here, just to give yourself a little room to pull it in and out. But yeah, you got that. We can, for now, close this back up, and we'll take this and slide this back together, just like so. And we'll just put that back on his arm here. And keep in mind, if you put in the stronger sockets, all this can be done without popping the arms off. Open that up, open this, swivel it on around, adjust the hands so they're going to close properly, swivel this all the way around, and swivel this guy on in, and for now close this up. Take this, close this on in, and just leave him like that for now. We'll come down to his legs here. I always start with this little piece. I take this, I flip it around just like that, take this little trigger piece out of the way, take this, close it on in on that little peg tab there, extend the foot out. I did have to put a little bit of the silicone shock oil on here just to make it move a little bit better, and then we can actually take this other silver piece and extend it on out to the foot there. So we'll do that again on this side. Take this, flip it around, trigger out, silver piece on in, extended foot, close that up. So now we'll come down to the foot, we'll open this thing on up, we'll split his foot all the way around, close this, and close that. Again, open, split, close, close, just like that. Now this part is where it gets tricky and complicated. So we'll take these and just kind of flip them out of the way and take this and find the best angle you can to push it all the way back on in and down. Make sure your foot didn't go up in the process, which is why it's hard. You gotta just find just the right angle, and it does have to bottom out. If it doesn't bottom out, none of this is gonna end up working right for you. So keep that in mind. So we'll do that again for this side. All the way in. Just like so. So we got that. Now we can kind of work with the legs here. So we're gonna split this piece out here. Actually, keep that there. Take these silver pieces, bring them on in, but before you do, make sure that your trigger and you know what? I think I messed up a little bit here. Take the silver piece down. Split this, that's right. Split the leg here. There we go. Take this silver piece down so we can move this trigger guard out of the way. And split the black piece up here and then fold these on in. Sorry about that. There we go. Then we can fold that up. Now we'll come back to this piece here. Open this up, pull your trigger back because the spring is always pulling it forward, and then close these on up, and you can see that that helps the spring be positioned from inside here to kind of a position that it's usable. And take this piece and kind of just fold it down for now. So now that we have this all in order, just like that, we should be able to take these pieces and kind of fold them together just to kind of make things a little bit more sturdy up front, at least for now. So we're probably gonna have to come back and adjust it, but just keep it like that temporarily. So we'll come to this piece, I fold this on out and I fold this out, and this can be a little bit complicated because of this little piece here. You do have to kind of get it to bend around that piece and make that flat, and we'll do that again on this side. Swivel that out, swivel this in, and then what you have to do is you have this little tab here and this slot here. You have to swivel this whole panel downwards while making sure that slot and tab still engage. And once you have that in place, the top will probably be out, and you can just kind of tab it on in, and then everything else will all plug in afterwards. So take this piece, bring this down and around, and this will actually peg onto the foot and that little silver piece that we made here. At this point, I'm going to take this apart just so we can work with each individual side better. So you see you got this, the top here does have a tiny little peg inside there to push down. And the back here does have a couple pieces that interlock right here. Come on, get in that peg hole. This part is a little bit tricky. There we go. Maybe not. Definitely a little bit tough. There we go. Wasn't quite in position. And then if this is all lined up properly, you may have to move the foot, but you should be able to tab these two into those two. So while you're here, just kind of adjust the leg and get that done. And make sure this trigger piece, I keep it down until I'm just about ready to combine everything back together. So we'll do this to the other side. I know that was probably a mess and hard to follow. So let's do it again. Take this, fold it on up, fold it down here, making sure that it locks around the bottom of our foot. Lock the top in up here. Come to the other side. Bring this down, swivel it so the little tab stays in the slot of the foot. Keep swiveling it on down till this is in position. Make sure that the top piece clips on in, and adjust the bottom piece and tab it on in there, and lock this top piece. So that gets us most of the way done. We can now flip this little trigger piece on up and bring this back together and lock it all back into place like we did previously on all sides, just like that. And you can see this little trigger piece kind of Y's out there, so it doesn't really tend to work too great for me. But yeah, what can you do? So now we'll take this, let's reattach Megatron's arm here so we can actually look at this how it's intended to be. Let's pick his arm back up, I should say. There we go. So we're going to take this, we're going to try to get this little piece out here, and surprisingly we actually succeeded. Rotate it on down just like that. Unlock the black clasps up here all the way around. All the way around, like so. Take these, fold them on into these pieces here. Popping off your arms in the process, of course. Alright, leave them off so we can actually see what happens. Take these, push this on down, and you can see it exposes the mechanism. Bring this on around like so. And make sure, you see this little loop here, make sure it's pulled out. So the next thing we're going to do is open this up, flip Megatron's head around, and put it away. Take this tab, close that back up, rotate the barrel, and rotate it all the way around like this. And then take this piece and fold it back up. Now we'll take this piece here and we will make sure that the barrel of the gun's facing forward. So now you should have kind of this thing, and you should theoretically have the two arms on here, and I'm going to put them back so I can try to show the transformation of them. It is loads easier with them off, but again, I wish it didn't just pop off. So now you want this piece that I had pointed out down here to be pulled back. If you don't, when you push this thing up, what you may want to push on the red sides here to kind of help you. But if you don't, when you push it up, that little piece that you that I had in the way there will actually get really jammed in position up there. So we can take this and fold this up, and take these little pieces now and fold them up to kind of hide these open spaces. So we should have this thing looking like this right now, and this mess of the arms. So now we work on the mess of the arms. So I'm going to split them off. You can see we take this down here like this, and then we have to take this little gray piece, or this black piece here. So frustrating. Pop this back in place. I want to show it just how it is. So we're going to take this black piece and we're going to pull it forward and we're going to flip it up, and it does kind of weakly, but it does clip in place up here. Okay? And then take this piece, flip it open and up like so. It's going to rotate, at least mine does, and extend out that little silver piece at kind of an angle. You're going to see it all kind of come together in just a few seconds. So again, take this black piece, slide it forward and up, take this piece, slide it up and an angle like this, and once again reattach this thing to here. So now what's going to happen is these black pieces have to fold down and in like this, and then if your thing would stop falling off the ball joint, you would have to rotate this down and around, because that's going to fit into this little cavity right here as you close this on up. And then this needs to be angled down so it fits there. So let me do this with the one off so you can just kind of see it. We take this, pop it off its stupid thing again. There we go. Like this, fold it on in, and like that. That's how everything is going to sit right here, and we just kind of work it into position on this side. You'll see the silver thing should be down there, and we're pretty close to the final position that it's going to sit when we have this thing pegged together. So I'm going to take this one, I'm just going to put this back in position, and I'm going to pop this right back on so we can get as close to that final position as we need to be. Peg that into place. And I forgot to peg that into place on this side. I flipped it up, but there is an additional tiny little clip to hold that there. So take that, fold this thing again, and bring it on in, and we lost the ball joint again. There we go. Take our silver piece that's jamming us up, just like this, clip all of this stuff in together. Here's a peg on the top, peg on there, peg at the center. And then, once we have this all kind of pegged together, you'll take this, and that's when you push all this stuff forward. Prior, or after you've gone ahead and pushed this down, otherwise it messes everything up. So we got that, and now we can just go ahead and try to clean every piece that's sticking out on up as best we can. Bring this little trigger guard down like so. This piece on mine, that's as far forward as it goes, so I always have a gap there. Maybe yours is better, I don't know if it is, let me know. There we go, we got that, and we'll take this plate, flip it around, and then just clip it into the little holes in the top, or the pegs in the top. And there we go, we got him back into his gun mode. I gotta say, it feels very Masterpiece in terms of transformation and stuff. It is a big pain in the butt. MP5 is definitely a Masterpiece, and he is very hard to transform too. I think this guy actually may be harder, but in both modes he is definitely, without a doubt, Megatron. Yeah, he's solid. He looks good on the shelf. I think he's one of the best Xtransbots offerings thus far, so I'm glad they didn't disappoint with that. But keep in mind that transformation is a big hassle. It's not very fun, and I don't know. I really don't recommend doing the transformation more than a couple times back and forth, just so you can see it. I think he's best relegated to being one or the other on your shelf, and for most people that's going to end up being Megatron. So this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next week.